Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today we're working with pattern number 3929 on friendshipbracelets.net. This sort of looks like an arrowhead, but it does not have some of the basic characteristics of the normal arrowhead. It somehow uses three colors more than the rest, and that would be our yellow, blue, and red. They get used the most. And then like all of the secondary colors, those are primary colors, right? All the secondary colors do this neat little now you see them, now you don't kind of thing. And it's kind of cute, except for the fact that there is just so many knots zigzagging to pop up in different places. It makes the whole overall how to put this together rather difficult. In fact, I did not find any great way of like segment knotting it, or it almost felt like it would almost be easier to just bring the rows out as if I was making chevrons. And I definitely never recommend that to anybody. Like, that does not feel like a productive use of your time. Speaking of time, it took me over an hour to make this, like an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15, something like that, which for a 12-string bracelet is definitely above average. I blame a lot of that on having to keep referring to the pattern as I went along, because none of it seemed very intuitive. There was no point where I'm like, oh, right, of course, this one's just going to go. No. It was following the pattern to make sure I wasn't making mistakes, to make sure that every time the string changed direction, I was there. Speaking of that, I did manage to make a couple mistakes. There was one, I guess maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention. And another one, I don't remember exactly what happened, but there was like 2 times where, oh no, the other one was I thought I made a mistake. Paused the video because I was afraid this was going to take a while. Tried to figure out what I did wrong, realized I was looking at the wrong row on the pattern, and realized everything was fine. It just didn't look like it because, like, it's the way that it sort of progresses sort of can get kind of confusing. And like, I just really thought I was on a further road down the way, and the colors weren't matching up where it was supposed to, and I was very, very confused. So, and I've been doing this stuff for years. Like, I make bracelets like almost daily, and for me to get that overwhelmed by a pattern just kind of goes to show that, like, this pattern is just difficult. I'm not going to say it's like the most difficult, you know, the highest scale. I'd still say it's intermediate, but more advanced than some. So yeah, definitely this is not something friendly for beginners. Yeah, it's just hard to do. Does it look worth it? I don't know. I don't know that overall it's so, you know, is it significantly different from an arrowhead? It's different, but it's not so different that I'm like, wow, that was worth all that extra, you know, effort to put into it. And I don't think any of the buyers, people who come to your booth to take a look at the bracelets, are going to look at this and say, oh my gosh, this one's obviously much more difficult. This is obviously the bargain here, you know, based on, you know, if it's the same price as an arrowhead, which it's likely to be because it's not any thicker. It doesn't look that much different or whatever. So I don't think anybody's going to look at it and be like, oh, I'm getting the best deal because this thing is like so much more to do than whatever. So you know, that's the way I kind of feel about it. It's just, I don't think for all that I put into it, I don't think it was like so, you know, a tremendous outcome. That's just my thoughts. I don't know. let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think this was like, oh, you did such a cool job, this is something that's going to be worth more? I just don't think it is. Oh, and it does a weird thing here. We're at the center, so it's red, purple, and orange for the center, right? Instead of going red, purple, blue, which would be like the normal sequence of a rainbow. Yeah, no, red, purple, orange. So in a way, I guess it kind of makes like a flower would be purple and orange, I guess, for the center. But not, I don't know, just kind of weird. That reminds me, before we forget about this, let me just thank my YouTube members for making all this possible. You guys are the best. Thank you guys. You guys kept this channel going all these years. So many videos and stuff. So thank you. If you want to join and like get discounts for the bracelets and stuff in my shop, it's real easy. It's the join button near the subscribe on YouTube, and be greatly appreciated. Oh, so we're past the center, and it reminded me that it did feel slightly more natural coming downwards with it than it did at the first half, where it was the chevron was sort of coming outwards. Everything past the center seemed to go a little bit easier, despite the fact that the mistake sort of came with this part. So I think I got like a false sense of how difficult, or how I was finally getting around to like understanding it and stuff. Like I really thought I had it mastered at this point, and then only to discover like, yeah, maybe not. maybe follow the pattern closely and try not to make mistakes. It does use the color yellow an awful lot in this one, which kind of, and I don't know if you noticed it kind of looks like an off-white in the colors that we chose here. That one gets used a bunch more. I think the blue and red were the next ones. But yeah, they get, it is not very even. So kind of be careful when you're cutting up your strings for this one. I don't want you to run out like before you finish it, because that's a real possibility. Yeah, just so many, even just watching this now, like there's just so many knots zigzagging back and forth. It's really like there's no part of this where I'm like, wow, this was easier. This was, no, it's constantly just jostling things around. And yeah, it was definitely hard. At the end of the day, though, it's kind of cool. I made a bracelet different from anything else I've ever done before. Probably will never do it again. Would definitely never do this as a bag form, just because having to refer to a pattern all the time to do something like 8-10 times wide. Oh, there was the mistake. Yeah, no, it would take forever to do a bigger project with this. So yeah, this will be the one time I do it. And I learned something, kinda. I learned that, there are patterns out there that people have created, which I don't understand why. There was something about this that just made sense. So, it could be just trying to see what they could generate with the bracelet making software. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking, but we're very close to the end now. So thank you for watching this far in. I super appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that like button. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.